now.
Yep.
Okay, ready, action. Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another series of The Entrepreneur's Dilemma. My name is Tobe Ezife, and I'm an entrepreneur and business owner. And the purpose of this series is to share stories from different entrepreneurs from different backgrounds, particularly around the challenges that they faced when they started up in their journey, and also how they overcame these challenges. So today, wow, guys, today I promise you one thing. You're going to leave here today very enlightened. And that's particularly because of the guy that I have on today. And his name is Frank. So I'm going to try and introduce this guy. Where do I start? Where do I start? So the best way for me to introduce this guy is to tell you a little bit about myself. So, in life, yeah, there's some people that meet you and totally transform and change the direction of where you're going. That was who Frank was to me. 2, 3 years ago, I was very wayward. I wasn't living, I wasn't dreaming big. I was just like a hamster on a wheel, living life on repeat. And on one occasion, I got the opportunity to listen to Frank give a lecture on stage, and I was immediately blown away. I was immediately blown away by his leadership, his mindset, and more importantly, the courage this guy had to be talking to a massive crowd, So I went after the show and I went to meet him. I was like, man, I need to know you. We need to get in touch. I need to know what you're doing. And fast forward 2, 3 years down the line, it's been such a great journey. We've become business partners and we've become friends. And I'm so grateful to have met this guy. And this guy is not someone I knew before. This is someone that I knew through another person. So without any further ado, guys, trust me, take your notes, listen to what this guy has to say. He has a lot of stories to share. And I promise you that when you listen to this, you'll be super, super enlightened. So without taking it too far, Frank, are you there?
Loud and clear. I am here. I can hear you. I can see you.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for the introduction.
Thank you for taking the time as well to get on this video call with me. I want you to just take the stage. I want you to take us back. I want you to take us back to the start of your entrepreneurship journey, what your life was like then, and what it has become now.
Yeah, absolutely. First things first, obviously, thank you for giving me this opportunity to just share a few thoughts and a few ideas and just talk about entrepreneurship in general. Let's see. I guess my entrepreneurial journey started in 2016 officially. So for those of you who don't know me, my background is software engineering. I've been a engineer for a while now. I loved what I do, but I've always been eager for more. And I think in 2015, around October, I just started to get sick and tired of the rat race and just waking up every day and doing the same thing over and over again. And I was just looking for more, but I wasn't sure what more was. I started to watch a lot of YouTube videos. I was listening to podcasts. I was just reading a lot about entrepreneurship, leadership. I had heard about these terms before, but I had no clue what they actually meant. And it was only when I started to really focus on it and dissect what they actually meant, that's when I was like, okay, cool. It seems like the only way to really break out of this rat race, this constant routine, is to to start a business, is to become an entrepreneur and just do something along those lines. And so I think from the moment I started looking in October 2015, I think it took me about a year. I remember I even ordered my first entrepreneurial book online. I remember ordering a book from Amazon called Crush It by a guy called Gary Vee.
Yeah.
I read the book, I ordered other books and I was just reading it every day after work. And after about 6 months or about 7 months, I think, I can't remember the exact time frame, in 2016, I just said, you know what, I think I can do this. I want to do this. I want to, start a business. I want to become an entrepreneur. I had no idea what to expect. It was my first time. But I was open-minded and I said, you know what, if this is the way, let's do it.
Mm.
So that's how I started, 2016. That's the journey. But I suppose if I really want to take you back, all the way back,
Mm.
right? I'm the last child of my family. I'm the last child. I'm the only boy as well. Um, when I look at my parents, on one side, my mom, she's an entrepreneur.
Mm,
She has that mindset. She's a go-getter. She loves to try different things. She would start a business, and she would see another opportunity there. She would try that one as well. So she was just a business-minded person. And one of the things that she didn't really have, is that patience to just do one thing for a very long time. She
mm,
loves creating stuff. And then I look at my dad on the other hand. He's like this complete opposite person, right? He loves just doing one thing. He has all the patience in the world. And so when I look at my parents and I look at myself, I seem to have married the best of both worlds, right?
mm,
On one side, I have this entrepreneurial spirit inside of me. I like to try things. I like to create things. I see myself as a go-getter. On the other side, I have tremendous amounts of patience, and I got that from my dad.
mm,
So I could stick to one thing like a stamp until it delivers. That's the kind of person I am.
mm, mm. And I like the way you take it back to your parents and how you've mirrored two of those qualities that have helped you grow in your business. Can you talk a little bit more about this patience that you talk that you've gotten from your dad, how it has helped you in entrepreneurship? Because I think now I might be deviating, but I just wanted to touch on something there before I forget it. I think patience is something that people lack a lot, especially when they start a business. Are they willing to wait for 5 years before they see the business grow, or people are just, I want to see the money, I want to see the returns immediately? How important is that patience in business?
Um, I think without patience, you can't build a business. Not only can you not build a business, you can't build a long-lasting, self-sustaining business, because that's what it takes. There are so many uncertainties when it comes to entrepreneurship. You don't know what to expect. You don't know what's down the line. You're literally a problem solver, so you're always on your feet. So you have to be lightweight. And so patience, is not just the ability to wait. Patience is the attitude you have as well within the waiting period.
Wow,
Patience is
wow.
is is a certain type of mindset that you have. And when you look at our society today, it's been reduced to instant rice, instant oatmeal, and instant noodles, right? Everyone, if it doesn't happen straight away, it's not going to happen. That's what people, that's the mindset people have these days. So instant gratification, everyone just expects to start a business and everything should just work out within the first 6 months or the first 1 year. So that patience is fundamental. It's critical to becoming a business owner. You really have to see things from a broader view. You have to see things from a larger perspective. And when you see things from a larger perspective, it makes it easy for you to have that patience. And as a business owner, when you're working on yourself as well as you're working on your business, when you get a taste of personal growth and personal development, it makes the patience easier. It
Mm,
makes it, easier for you to understand that, okay, I'm actually growing here. I can see that a transformation is taking place, even if it's a slow transformation, but you can feel it, that there is some sort of results that you're getting because of who you're becoming. And at
mm.
the end of the day, I believe it's about who you're becoming in the process, not so much about what you're achieving. And when you're becoming more, patience becomes easy.
Guys, come on, that was sick right there, man. That was sick, man. And wow, I've never seen patience broken down that way. I've never heard it broken down that way. But you said something very important about the attitude you have while waiting. That is
Yeah,
also key. That is very key as well. Because it's easy to wait but have the bad attitude, and then you just get frustrated in the waiting period. But if you have a
absolutely.
good attitude while you're waiting, then it makes it makes the patience even more. I don't even know what word to use. It makes the
It's
journey more
easier.
pleasant, I suppose.
Exactly. It makes it, you're more calm, you're more relaxed because you're seeing everything from a larger perspective.
Mm,
Your attitude changes, the way you think, because attitude is the way you think, it's the way you feel, and it's the way you act. Those three combinations. So the way you're going to be thinking and acting and feeling is going to be better.
mm.
Then patience, automatically takes care of itself.
Wow. Okay, guys, I haven't even started the questions. So, the other question I wanted to ask Frank is that when you started your journey towards entrepreneurship, can you share like three major challenges that you had when you first started?
Yeah, lots of challenges. So one of the biggest things for me when I started was just not understanding, what business was all about, not understanding what entrepreneurship was all about. I thought I was one of them, one of those people who thought, I could, become extremely successful in 6 months, because my definition of success at the time was, just making all the money in the world. And I felt like the first business that I started, I could see the path, I could see the way. I knew that I just had to work a little bit more extra. So first major challenge was just not understanding what success was, understanding what how to run a business. Second major challenge was just not having that personal growth. I thought who I was back then could achieve where my dreams and my goals and my mindset was,
Mm,
and it wasn't. That was a big lie. I have later found out that I have to grow. I have to work on myself. I have to develop myself, my mindset, my character. I have to go through a complete paradigm shift. That's the understanding that I have now for me to attain all these things, and attain that success that I wanted in entrepreneurship. So that was the biggest challenge for me.
mm,
Fear. I had lots of fear talking to people, approaching people, because when you're a business owner, when you're an entrepreneur, you have to have that courage to speak with people, right? Public speaking was another thing that I feared the most,
mm,
and for me, it was originally I am an anxious person. I have anxiety problems.
mm,
So when I had to go on stage and talk to about 10 people at the time, I started with talking with 10 people. I was frightened. There was lots of fear. I wasn't sure. I remember practicing and remembering everything that I wanted to say, but then when I went on stage, I forgot half of it and I just kind of, winged it and came up with whatever on the spot. So I had a big fear of public speaking. I had a big fear of talking to people. I had a big fear of, just, putting myself out there, letting people know that this is who I am now. This is what I do. I have become an entrepreneur. And I think that's what one thing a lot of people suffer from when they find themselves working in the corporate world for a very long time and they're making that transition into becoming an entrepreneur. They have this setback that holds them down, and it's usually fear, and they don't want to spread their wings and fly. They and speaking about myself as well, that was me. I didn't want to spread my wings and fly straight away. I was kind of tiptoeing my way through their entrepreneurial journey. So I hope that answers your question. For me, those are my challenges, and personal growth wise, fears that I had on all different levels.
and now I'm just gonna pick out fear because later down the line in this call, I'm gonna talk about. I'm gonna ask you to share some thoughts on personal growth. But with regards to fear, this is also something that I faced, and I understand that, like you said, a lot of entrepreneurs when they're starting out, especially transitioning from their 9 to 5, which is their traditional way of working, to this unconventional way of working, which is the entrepreneurship journey. How did you handle fear? Like, what are the things that you did that made you, overcome fear? Are you still having fear currently?
Good question. So when I started out my journey, I used to listen to a lot of motivational talks on YouTube, right? Podcasts, anything I can get my hands on. I was consuming so much information and motivation and inspiration. And I used to hear, people like Les Brown and Jim Rohn, and they used to talk about feel the fear and do it anyway. And so I guess, being consumed by that, rewiring my mind, I kind of figured out that the best way to handle fear was just to do it anyway. So when I had any fear of approaching a specific person to talk about, my business or my product or my service, I would feel the fear, but I would still challenge myself. So these are practical steps that people can take as well. Just challenge yourself and say, this fear is not real. Let me still talk to that person. Let me still approach that person. Whatever it is, whatever you're afraid of, it's not real. It's, they say it's false evidence appearing real. So just challenge yourself. Those are the practical things that I did when I feel something, and you can feel it. It's an emotion. You can feel it within you. When you feel it, know that that thing, if you don't deal with it straight away, it's going to stop you, it's going to hold you, it's going to keep you where you are. So
Mm,
for me, anytime I feel any fear, I just challenge myself, I do it anyway. To your question about if I still feel any fear to date,
mm.
absolutely, and that's the that's the that's the way life works. Think about it, right? One of my mentors in the past, he used to say, success is never ending. You
Mm,
never arrive,
mm,
right? There's always going to be something to reach for,
mm,
right? Your dreams are always going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So there's no end game here. So, in other words, success is the progression, realization of a goal, of a dream. You're
mm,
always, it's continuous. So when you think about it, when you look at it from that perspective, then you must understand that there's always going to be something for you to reach for that is bigger than you,
mm,
right? So, in other words, you're always going to be trying new things that you're afraid of initially.
mm,
So, to answer your question, yes, I still feel fear because where I was back then, the things that frightened me
mm,
may no longer frighten me right now. But because I still have a mind that dreams big,
mm,
there are things that, actions that I take today that still frighten me.
mm. Wow. I like that, man. I really, really like that. Cool. Another question I want to ask is about your lifestyle. Has it, obviously it's changed, but I want to know how much it's changed. So your lifestyle before entrepreneurship and your lifestyle now that you're an entrepreneur, tell me the things that have changed. What habits have you thrown away and what habits have you now developed?
Yeah. Prior to starting my journey, I was just living life normal, right? So I
Mm,
would my weekdays were Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, as per usual. After working hours, I would, do go play some football, play basketball.
mm,
I had a lot of spare time in my hands when I think about it now, and I used to love partying a lot. I would go out on the weekends, and I used to travel a lot, go on holidays, and just living a very I don't want to call it a loose life, but I was living a very, like, let me call it a normal life, right? Because that's where most people are
that is
today,
not.
I think. Um, so I so that was me, and then when I started my journey, because of the when you have a big vision,
Mm,
you know uh, I gave birth to a new desire, and that vision just became strong. That desire just consumes me, and when that happens, you automatically find it easier to have discipline. With a
mm,
bigger vision brings about good discipline. If your
mm,
vision is small, your discipline is small. When your vision is big, your discipline, that's how I see it. So my discipline became so strong. So I no longer found myself, and it wasn't like I didn't want to do it. I would still love to have gone out. I would still love to have, you know, played, 3 hours basketball on a Wednesday evening,
mm,
but I didn't feel like that was the right time, that was the right way to spend my time, because I
mm,
have a big vision, so I have to be focused on my vision.
mm,
And so my lifestyle has changed completely. Today when I look back, I'm a better person. From my point of view, my perspective about life is different. My awareness level is different. I just have more understanding. I have more knowledge about so many different things. I keep to myself a lot more. I used to surround myself with anyone and everyone. Let me put it that way back then, but now I'm very, very selective on who I call my friend. I'm very, very selective on. That doesn't mean I don't love everyone. I love everyone, in an equal way, but in terms of the people that I surround myself, the closest people, my circle, I'm very, very, very selective, because they will either make you or break you. If you're the smartest person in the room, like they say, you need to find another room. So I've tried to surround myself with go-getters, people who are on the same mission and vision as me, people who dream big, people who just want more out of life. And for me, it's very, very important, because I want to bounce off that energy. I want to be focused, and I want people that force me to level up in life. And so for me, my surrounding has changed tremendously. I spend more time with myself so I can get to know who I am a bit more. You know, a lot of people out there spend time dating other people, but they never spend time dating themselves, so they don't really know who they are. You know, so I'm just growing every single day to know more about who I am, and you know, I'm connecting with my alignment. I'm just trying to become a better version of myself, because my goals and my vision and where they're taking me, I know that I'm going to be inspiring and helping people in the future. That's what I want to do. I'm doing it right now in a little way, but I know I'm going to be doing it in a global scale in the future. So I want to be ready for that. I want to prepare myself for that. I have to be the change that I want to see in the world. If I'm going to be helping people, first I need to help myself, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. First, you have to pour into yourself and let your cup run it over, so you can begin to pour into the lives of the people around you, if that makes sense. So that's where I am right now. And surrounding is big. It's like taking a seed, right? Take a seed and you put it on, say, a tile in the kitchen, right? And you water it every single day and you let some sun touch it. It doesn't matter how long you do that, all right? That seed is not going to grow. It's not going to germinate. But if you take that same seed and you put it in the right environment, say you put it on soil and you water it and you put some sunlight on it, what's going to happen is that seed is going to germinate, and in a very short period of time it's going to germinate and it's going to bloom. And so that's, when I think about that example, I think of us as individuals. We are that seed. So depending on the environment you plug yourself in, you could either germinate or you could die as a seed, you know. And it's a slow process and you will never see it happen. You know, it's like taking a frog, and you put a frog on boiling water. That frog is going to jump out straight away because it recognizes the heat, it recognizes the environment. But if you take that same frog, put it in cold water, room temperature water, right, and turn the stove, you know, hot just a little bit, right, that frog is going to boil to death because he didn't even know that, you know, he was in a boiling water, if that makes sense, because the change happens so slowly. So it's the same thing with us. You can plug yourself in an environment, and that environment, because it's so slow in the way that it's killing you, but it's so slow, you can't see it happening. You look back, you know, 3 years late, down the line, and you know, you probably have gone backwards instead of going forwards. But if you take yourself and put yourself in the right environment, you can grow.
Wow. I can't how do I say this? I can't emphasize even more how important environment is, because I remember for myself, my environment before was totally different. And if I look back now, there was no growth in that environment. But now that I've started to shift towards surrounding myself with people that inspire me more, there's definitely a change in my life now. And I think that that analogy of the seed is very, very, it really does resonate well with me, the way you say it that way. But thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you for sharing that. Really like that. Really like that.
And just to add to that, if you allow me, I think the challenge for a lot of people when they are trying to get into the right environments is they don't even recognize that the people that are the closest to them, that they call their best friends, or their family members, their parents, their sisters. You know, my mentor said this to me before. He said, sometimes you need to divorce yourself from your family, your tradition, your culture, so that you can give room for your growth. And a lot of people don't understand this. They feel like they have to be beholden to their family, and it's all great, but if your family is not forcing you to level up, if they're not inspiring you to become a better version of yourself, it's okay to divorce yourself from them for a little while so you can give room for your growth. You can still love them, you can love them from afar, you know, but give yourself room to grow. That's what I would say.
Wow. That is both controversial and true.
It is. It is.
um, cool. So I wanted to ask, let me ask another question. And this would be around, now I know you've slightly touched on it, but what does entrepreneurship mean to you?
Oof. To me, entrepreneurship is about creating. Entrepreneurship is about, um, the way I look at it, right? That, like, without entrepreneurship, where would we be?
Mm.
Entrepreneurship, entrepreneurs move humanity forward. Think
Mm.
about it. When you look around you, everything you see today, from your laptop to your monitor to the board behind you, to
Mm.
your shirt, your shoe, anything, right? When you look at everything around you today, it was an entrepreneur that created that.
Mm.
Some time ago, someone woke up and said, you know what if there was a way, I could see a computer, like I could see even the shoe you wear, the necklace, your watch, everything. Someone created it. So without entrepreneurship, let me reverse answer your question, if that makes sense. Without entrepreneurship, humanity wouldn't be where we are today.
Mm.
Okay, so that's how important it is. Even people who, when we have our 9 to 5 jobs, remember it was an entrepreneur who decided to embark on his or her entrepreneurial journey to
Mm.
create a company, to create a business for people to be able to say, I now have a job.
Mm. Mm.
An entrepreneur had to go through that headache, that stress, to develop a company, an environment for people to come in to work and pay them. So entrepreneurship is vital. Everything around us, the whole economy, the whole system, everything functions because there are entrepreneurs. So when you say, what does entrepreneurship mean to me? It means everything.
Mm.
Without entrepreneurs, we are not moving forward as a race, as a community, as a nation, as a global community. We're going to be stuck behind, and I don't think there are enough entrepreneurs in the world. Right now, the figures, the last time I checked, only about 4% of people. There's about 400 million businesses, maybe 450 million. I can't remember the exact figures. So I think there needs to be more,
Mm.
because the more there are entrepreneurs, the more every problem we see around us today are going to be fixed.
Mm.
Entrepreneurs are problem solvers. They see something, they don't like it, they try to create something to solve it,
Mm.
to make life better, to make life easier for every single person. So the more entrepreneurs we have as a global community, the more we're going to solve problems. The other day I was watching a YouTube video, excuse me, of a lady in Lagos who found a way to create, what was it, to harness water from air, in a very, very cheap way. We already know, H2O can be found in air, but she found a cheap way to harness it,
Mm.
for to help people over there. On the other side of the world, in Israel, there are people who are coming up with ways to cure cancer. So like, people who embark on that journey are literally helping their entire community in the world, and that's why I respect entrepreneurs, and I think more people should respect them as well.
Mm. Never had it defined that way before. That is gold right there. That is gold that way. Um, cool. Another question I'm gonna throw at you is mistakes. So I don't know if I've thrown this question already. No.
Mistakes? No,
Yeah,
I don't think
mistakes
so.
on your journey. Yeah, I haven't thrown this question. So when you started right now, yesterday, can you talk about a few mistakes that you've made on your journey, on your entrepreneurship journey?
I've made a lot of mistakes. A lot of mistakes. Where do I even begin? When you get started, like I said before, you just don't know. You don't know what you don't know,
Mm.
right? So like, when you look at um, let's say you start a business and you're offering a certain product or you're offering a certain service. When you get started, you feel like, I know what the people want. That's why you created that product or that service, right? I know what they want. So I'm going to have that conversation with the potential customer, based on what I feel he or she is looking for. But reality doesn't always work that way. And one of the mistakes I made was I was trying to do things my way, from my own lens, from my own point of view. And I didn't always try to see things from other people's point of view and what they truly want, and if I was actually helping them, so so many mistakes. I can't Crazy that I can't even think of many right now, but so many things. I even when I was building a team, I was trying to lead a team, but I didn't really have the leadership skills to lead a team. I was just, trying to do it the best way that I can. I was, um, just helping people the wrong way, coming from a good heart, but helping them the wrong way. It's like giving them a fish instead of teaching them how to fish. That kind of approach, you know. So many mistakes, man. It's crazy. I can't even think of so many right now. But I had so many mistakes, and if I think of one during the course of this call, I'll definitely slot it in. But I made tons of mistakes, and it's just a part of being an entrepreneur.
Okay. And now we're going to bounce into personal self-development. And this is one aspect that I learned so much from you when I first started out my entrepreneurship journey. So I want you to emphasize a little bit how much personal development has played a role in your journey. Talk about maybe talk about that and just go into books that helped you, mentors. Did you get on any mentorship programs? Are mentors important in your entrepreneurship journey? Just emphasize a little bit on that.
Yeah. Personal growth and development is the foundation of entrepreneurship. Finding that perfect blend between entrepreneurship and personal growth is key. For me, my experience, it helps me become a better entrepreneur.
Mm,
Right. So I remember when I started out, I used to just focus on motivational, talks on YouTube and any podcast I could get my hands on. And I was listening to people like Les Brown, listening to people like Jim Rohn. And then I went to the next level of personal development, and I found Bob Proctor. I don't know if you've heard about Bob Proctor. Um, and I started to learn everything about him and his story, and what he's teaching and what he's bringing to the table. And then I went to the next level, and I found other mentors as well. And so for me, personal development has impacted my life in a huge way, because where I was coming from a place of, like we talked about before, fears. I was coming from a place of lack of confidence. It's crazy. Like when I think back then, I used to think I had confidence,
mm,
but when I look back now, I'm like, I didn't have any confidence. Personal development helps you see things through a different lens. It helps you understand, and it gives you more awareness about anything and
mm,
everything.
mm,
So personal growth, I know books like, Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, that book for me helped me with my self-image.
mm,
I had a very low self-image. I used to, I never felt like I was deserving of certain things. So I would always let people go ahead first. So Maxwell Maltz talks about how, everything you do and every decision you make and every action you take
mm,
is based off your self-image. How do you see yourself? So that book really helped me. I've all the books like Think and Grow Rich, that I read as well. And Think and Grow Rich, I remember when I saw the title, I thought it was just about becoming rich, as in financial richness, if that
mm,
makes sense. But after reading the book, you understand that it's becoming rich in all areas of your life, not just financial ways, but it's also about your spiritual ways. It's also about your health. It's also about, everything, anything that you need. If you're, in your relationships, if you're looking for love. So that book was also fundamental for me. To date, I still try to read Think and Grow Rich. I love the chapter about desire and how desire is very important for you to progress through your goals and your dreams and your vision. Without that burning desire inside of you, it's going to be a lot more difficult.
mm,
There are so many other books I have read along the lines. Gary V, Crush It. I talked about that. Um, I even have a collection of books here. Joe Dispenza is one of my one of my mentors as well. This is one of his books. I don't know if you can see it. It's Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself.
oh,
Okay.
wow.
He has a lot of books about how to handle your emotions, because one thing you realize that emotions are the things that really change, really affects your decision making. And
Mm,
if you don't have a high emotional IQ, meaning you don't really know how to manage your emotions, are you the type of person who reacts instead of responding to
mm,
certain things? When something negative happens to you, do you see it from a broader view, or do you just react straight away into anger, into fear, and then make decisions based on that fear?
mm,
So Joe Dispenza really helps you with your emotions, and I've learned through him that everything that happens in your life has an emotional problem to it. And
Mm.
if you work on the emotions, you can solve that problem. All the books, like this one, Visualization and Realization, talking about how you can hold tight to your vision. And if you hold
Mm.
tight to that vision, then you stay in alignment. If your
Mm.
vision is strong enough, it's going to keep pulling you, and then you stay in alignment. It's going to be hard to deviate to
Mm.
do anything else, or to, when people say, oh, Tobe, let's try this, let's do something else, you're going to be like, I'm sorry, my vision is strong. And because you're visualizing that every single day, you're imagining it every single day, it's just hard for you to uh to try something different. So like visualization, and this is why people create vision boards. I learned from the books that I read that you need a vision board. What is a vision board when you think about it? People,
I wanted you to even go in there now. Vision board. Can you talk about that a bit?
yeah,
What
yeah,
is
of
a
course,
vision board? Is it
absolutely.
just a board? Is it just a board that you just write stuff on? What is it really?
A vision board is, so the best way to explain it is to think about, um, people want to, they need to see themselves as a certain type of person. People want to get to a certain point in life, so what they do is, they cut out, pictures from magazines, they cut out, print out stuff from the internet, and what they're trying to do effectively is to formulate some sort of a vision, and they cut out their picture and put it as part of the entire vision board. So they formulate some sort of a vision on
Uh,
the board, hence it's called a vision board. um, I'll come to the problem with, vision boards for a lot of people in a second, because there's a reason why it doesn't work for a lot of people. I believe it works. It's been working for me for almost a decade now. I remember the first time I started using this was when I was in college, and I was trying to graduate with a certain type of degree, and I was finding it very difficult. It came to my last year, and I was almost giving up. And so I don't know how it came about. I wasn't personally developed at that stage. I just don't know where it came from. But what I did was I started to print a lot of stuff from the internet, and I was hanging it in my wall in my bedroom,
yeah.
so that when I wake up in the morning, I would see it. Um, like, and I remember one time my parents walked into my house, into my bedroom, and they thought I had gone crazy, because they walked in and there were so many things on the wall, and like, what's going on here? Are you okay? Do you need to see a doctor or something? But for me, that worked for me, because I ended up getting the type of result that I wanted in college because of that. Because it gave me that, because I could see it, a physicalness, a physical vision. It
Mm.
helps me imagine a bit more, and then it aligned me into working hard for it. And so that's what people try to do today. They try to create a board, and then they hang it in the bathroom or in their living room, and they try to put it in a place where they can see it every single day. They look at it 5 minutes in the morning before they go to bed. They try to look at it again, just so their mind could be focused on that vision, because um, there are more. I don't know if you want to go into the subject, but there's more power that is beyond us, right? And for me, in my experience, in my personal growth journey, is that if you want to get something, there's a force, there's a power that can attract it to you.
Mm.
But first, you need to be aligned with it. You need to resonate with it. You need to be vibrating on that specific type of frequency, and then it to be drawn to you,
Mm.
right? In many ways. So vision board would help you stay in that frequency, so that the universe can draw it to you. So that's a different conversation for another day. But to come back to what I think the problem is, and why the vision board is not working for a lot of people, is this. So the whole idea with the vision board, like I said, is you wake up in the morning, you have a look at it. Maybe in the afternoon when you're home, you have a look at it again. In the night before you go to bed, you have a look at it.
Mm.
But the challenge with people is this, right? They spend 5 minutes. Let's say they spend on average 10 minutes a day looking at their vision board. But
Mm.
for the rest of the hours during the day, what are they doing, right? They're looking at other things,
Mm.
right? Let me explain. Some people go on their phone, and they are on their newsfeed, on their Instagram, on their Facebook, and their Snapchat, and now there's TikTok. So
Mm.
people are just, scrolling, and, so what they're supposed to be putting in their vision from their vision board, they spend more time on their stories and newsfeed and watching what other people are doing, you know. So that's what's now their vision board. I don't know if I'm explaining myself correctly. So what you find now is that people are not manifesting their goals and their dreams and what they put on the vision board. And
Yeah.
I'd like to end with this, but people are manifesting their Instagram stories.
Wow.
That's
Like
what's happening.
that is deep stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. Um, before I go on, I wanted to ask you something. There was something you said earlier about attracting stuff to you and
Mm,
being in that same alignment with that thing that you want to attract to yourself. Are you when you say there's a now? I don't want us to go too deep in this, but I just want you to expand a tiny bit. When you say attract something to you, what does that mean?
right. So, I mean, it depends. So it depends if someone is spiritual. I'm a very spiritual person, not necessarily a religious person. I'm a very spiritual person. So what that means is I believe that there is a creator. I believe that there is someone or something, all right, that created everything. And there's a reason why we're all here. Humans are trying to figure it out. You know, we're probably going to be figuring out for a very long time, but there's a reason why we're here. I also think who this creator is created a perfect system,
Mm,
a perfect universe,
mm,
a perfect, and he created it using laws, and he put laws in place. And if you just learn to align yourself with those laws, you
mm,
find that you can have anything you want. One of the lowest laws, all right, that we have come to find is the law of gravity. Now, whether you believe it or not, if you decide to go jump off a window, you know, if you jump off the window after like a split second, you buy into the law of gravity. So it's not about trying to believe in it or not. It is there and we know it, right? I also think there's so many different laws that we just haven't figured out as a community, as a global community yet, that we're eventually going to figure out as time goes on. So I think the creator created a perfect system with laws. And I also think just like how we have the law of gravity, there are other laws as well that you can use to attract anything that you want.
mm,
Okay. People have called it the law of attraction. Okay. People have called it the law of vibration. People have given it so many different names. Let's not get too caught up with the names. Let's just focus on what it actually is,
mm,
right? And I believe this because I've seen it work in my life, right? So when I say that you can attract certain things to yourself, I mean that when you put yourself, so let's say you want a new job or a new car, a new house, any desire, anything that you want, right? Right now, the moment that desire came to you, right now, there is a way to get to that desire. There is a way to get that job. Right now, at the same instance, that job is available for you somewhere in the world.
mm,
Problem is, in our physicalness, we can't see it,
mm,
right? The same time Tobe said, I need that new job, it's the same time an employer somewhere in, I don't know, America is like, I'm looking for a new employee that
mm,
has these exact attributes as Tobe,
mm,
but both of them don't know,
mm,
right? So the universe and the law that is in place is to help those two people find each other.
mm,
For them to find each other, they may need to go through certain hoops and certain other people, right? Maybe Tobe knows a guy, his old friend who is now living in America, who was an employee previously for that guy in that company. So there is a path, in other words, right? There is a way to for those two people to connect. In other
mm,
words, there is a way for you to attract that employer to you, and
mm,
there is a way from that employer to attract Tobe to him or herself.
mm.
So there are laws that, and that's why, you know, there's more to this, by the way. And if I started
I
talking
know,
about
I
this,
know.
we could end up talking
I
for
know, I
hours.
know
But
there's more to it. Well, I'm definitely gonna look at bringing you on. If this is now, this is if this is okay with you, I'm definitely looking at bringing you on again to expand a little bit more about it because I think you're going on to something that's very important that very few people know about here. But if we just come back to the questions and uh, the scope of this session. Another question that I want to ask is about leadership. Without just expanding too much on it, but I want to just ask you because I know that you're in a leadership position. Whereas, what I mean by that is that you have a lot of people that look up to you. Um, how important is leadership in business? That's one. And um, how do other business people that don't apply leadership in their business, how do they fare off?
Good question. Um, so remember when I talked about there's a perfect alignment with entrepreneurship
Mm,
and personal growth.
mm,
If you want a super alignment, is entrepreneurship, personal growth, and leadership. All that combined together is like having a superpower, right? It's like being Superman, let me put it that way, in business
mm,
and in life.
mm,
Leadership is fundamental. Leadership is important for anything. I think if you're ever going to build anything of great significance in this lifetime,
mm,
you cannot do it alone. You need to find a team, you need to find people, and you need to surround yourself with smart, intelligent, like-minded people.
mm,
And if you're ever going to do anything that requires you building a team, you need to learn how to lead a team.
mm,
But before you can lead a team, first you have to lead yourself.
mm,
Okay, like I said before, you cannot pour from an empty cup. You need to grow into becoming a better leader, and then you can lead a team.
mm,
Leadership is fundamental. That's why they say if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together.
mm,
But to go together, you need to offer leadership,
mm,
right? Leadership to me is like it's the way you are. It's your attitude. It's your mindset. It's you can choose to lead from the front or you can choose to lead from the back. There are styles of leadership, and that's okay. Every style is welcome. But the whole idea is you want to become a type of person that people look up to and say, you know what? I want to follow her. I want to follow him.
mm,
I don't care where they're going, what they're doing, but because of who they are,
mm,
I want to follow them. I would
mm,
do anything for them.
mm,
When I look at people like Nelson Mandela, that is a true definition. He's a true definition of leadership,
mm,
right? His style of leadership is leading from the back, not really leading from the front.
mm,
That's his style. Nelson Mandela is, he's like, because of who he is and what he sacrificed and what he did, complete selfless individual.
mm,
People looked at him and say, that guy, that person, I want him to be my leader. You
mm,
know, that's looking at it from a bigger scale. Now let's bring it back to say a business person, an entrepreneur. You're going to start a business. You're going to need a team.
mm,
You're going to need 5, 6, 7, 8 people in your team.
mm,
Smart people. To get smart people to work together, you need to offer leadership.
mm,
You need to be that person that um, not necessarily the smartest person, and that's one of the biggest mistakes people make today. They think becoming a leader, being the leader, they need to be the most intelligent, the person with the best communication skills. None of that is important. It's not about how you look or whatever. It's about who you are. It's about the kind of spirit within you. It's about your selflessness. It's about becoming a servant leader. It's about serving others, right?
mm,
And the more leaders we have in the world, the better this world is going to be. When you look at all the crises and all the craziness and all the wars and everything that's going on in the world today, most of it stems out of lack of
mm,
good leadership.
mm,
And to become a leader in your team, you need to be the type of person that listens.
mm,
You need to be the type of person that connects with the team, right? And you don't necessarily listen with your ears, you listen with your heart. You might hear it with your ears, but you actually listen with your heart. And you want to be fast. You don't want to be fast to speak. You want to be, when you're listening, you want to be slow to speak but fast to listen, if that makes sense. So leadership on all levels. For me, I'm excited whenever I talk about leadership. I love to learn about leadership. John Maxwell, I call him the godfather of leadership. He's been teaching leadership for more than 40, 50 years now. I go to him for anything leadership related, and I advise anyone who's interested in leadership to follow John Maxwell as well, because you would learn so much about how to become a better leader, developing that leader within you, and how you can start going through that complete shift. let's call it leadership. I believe one of his book is actually called a leadership, where you shift yourself from a follower person to a leadership person. And there are three questions he says that um, every follower ask their leader. And it's not something they say that they say, let me ask you this question. It's unsaid, it's unspoken,
Mm,
but in their mind they always ask these questions, and it's truly a test of your compassion, it's a test of your competence, and it's a test of your character. The first question they ask is, do you care? Does this person, let's say Tobe is my leader and I'm following Tobe, does this person really care about me? Which is a
mm,
test of your compassion. And every single day they're trying to figure out if this person truly cares about about him, or if they just care about themselves. And as you know, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
mm,
The second question that people ask, which is a test of your competence, is, can this person help me?
mm,
Can you help me? Do
mm,
you have the skills to get me to the next level? Do you have the perseverance to get me to the next level? Do you have that mindset that I need to grow? Can I learn from you? So it's
mm,
a test of your competence. And the third and final question that every follower asks their leader, that is unspoken, right, is, can I trust you?
mm,
Okay. And that is a test to the character of the leader. Can I trust you? All leadership, the foundation of leadership is built out of trust. If your people cannot trust you, they won't follow you. If you
mm,
want to know how good you are of a leader, right, look behind you and see how many people are following you,
mm.
right? If there's no one following you, it's a good measure of how good of a leader you are. Let me put it
Not,
that way. And
not followers on Instagram or followers on Facebook.
exactly, not followers on Instagram or Facebook or Snapchat or none of that social platform. I'm talking human to human connection here. I'm talking about your team that you're actually building for your business, for anything. And let me just end leadership with this, because I could talk forever if you allowed me to talk about leadership. But the true test of a leader is to take that person and get that person to lead a non-profit organization and see how well he or she does.
Mm,
That's how you can test a good leader. A non-profit organization. So building a team, getting
mm,
people to follow you, right? And there's no profit, there's nothing to be made, but they're following you and they're building something great. That's the true test of a leader.
mm. Wow. Oh, that's amazing, man. That is really, really, really amazing. Guys, I don't know about you, but like this is gold knowledge right here, and I am consuming like a sponge everything that's coming out from Frank's mouth. Frank, I want to ask you something. This is something that I know just because I know you as a person, and we've known each other for quite some time. I remember, and I don't know if it's okay if you don't want to answer this question, but I just wanted to ask, just to put it out there. I remember you had to leave your country to a different country that you knew no one, and you had no way of surviving there. You didn't know how you were going to survive there, and you were going to leave where you grew up, and your parents were not happy with this. I remember we had this conversation before, but you left either ways. And I remember when this happened, I was like, what is going on in this guy's mind? Why is he? I know he's passionate about entrepreneurship and building the business, but why is he going against his parents? Why is he so focused on doing this thing that is kind of against all odds? So I want, if it's okay with you, I want you to share, because I remember this because I know you personally, but I want you to share what was the thought process behind that.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So the nature of my business I am building is requires you to be in a specific type of market, requires you to be in a specific type of region.
Mm,
And so I think this was last year, October last year. I woke up one day and I was like, you know what? Actually, I think it was September, right? For the first time, and the thought came to my mind where I was like, business is okay, but it can be better,
mm,
right? In order for it to be better, I know what I have to do. I have to take a leap of faith and move to a different country, at
mm,
least for a while. I can always come back. The problem was I'm in a full-time employment, right? I have I'm very comfortable where it was back then, and and there was just a lot of factors. I would have to leave my family in a certain country and go to a new country, and
mm,
the decision was hard to make. And it was hard to make because I was living in fear. I know this now. Back then, it was logical to me. It was like, can't just wake up and move. I have this and I have that, and I. But now when I think about it, it was all fear. And so in October, I decided to share that information with my team, that we were building the business again. I said, guys, guess what? I think that it's time to take a leap of faith and move to the United Kingdom. And I chose the United Kingdom simply for the reason that there's just more opportunities here. There's more growth here. People are generally more ambitious here, and the population is here, so you can obviously reach for more people when it comes to your product and your services
Mm,
that you're offering. So I shared it with my team. The crazy thing was actually my team, some 3 members of my team were like, let's do it, I'm going with you, let's all move together. So that gave me more courage to actually make the move. But to answer your question directly, it was a challenge for me to make that move for so many different reasons. But like I said, I was just living in my fear. But sometimes when you have a strong vision, come back to this, it pulls you. You
mm,
think you're actually the one moving yourself towards that, but the vision is so strong in your mind that certain thoughts and ideas, like, where do you think thoughts come from? Where do you think ideas come from? You know,
mm,
they just drop into your mind. From where? It has to come from somewhere, right? So that's why I honestly believe that when you hold that vision and it's strong in your mind, you put yourself in a specific type of, let's call it vibration, frequency level, and you start attracting the thoughts and the ideas to get you to that vision. So I believe that that idea came to me, and it's part of my vision. So I didn't, I hesitated obviously at the start, but eventually I just said, you know what, going against all odds, whatever people say. My parents, they were like, if you go till today, my mom doesn't really speak to me, which I think is still crazy. We have conversations, but I think now that there's an issue with with COVID, and we've obviously started talking. But when I moved initially, she wasn't really talking to me because she wasn't happy with the decision I made. Because from her perspective, she's known me right from time, right? She knows that I've always been about the educational type of person. I've always been about the corporate job kind of a person. So like, she knows how hard I worked to graduate, how hard I worked to get a good job, and she still has a traditional mindset of, education is the key to success. So you need to get a good job and progress yourself through that job. And so when I even started my business initially, she was not for it. She's like, you need to just, you're doing very well. She always told me, you're doing very well. You have a good job. You're earning a certain type of income. So just, live a very simple life. And for me, I always felt like that was what she wanted, but that was not what I wanted. And so when I decided that I was going to quit my job, right, that I had worked hard for, being a software engineer for that amount of years, 7+ years, and I was going to move to a new country, and I had no job ready, right? I was just taking a leap of faith. I had no idea if the business that I was coming here to do was going to work out. It was hard. It was hard for her to take that in and just not say anything. So she tried to get my sisters involved. She got their entire family involved just to talk me out of it. It was a family meeting, and I listened, I observed, I watched, but I still went with my heart desire to move to the UK. And now I'm here. And now I look back and I'm like, isn't that crazy how, I felt like it was such a big deal moving to the UK. But now I'm here, I'm like, it's a no-brainer. It's like the most logical thing to do.
mm,
And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck in life. They get a thought, they get an idea to make a change, to travel, to approach that person, to go to that networking event, to move to a new location, and they come up with so many different excuses. And that's
mm,
why, going back to the environment we talked about, the people that you're around, your family, they love you to bits. I know that. You guys love each other. I know that. But sometimes they don't know what's best for you.
mm,
Only you knows what's best for you, and that's why you need to follow your intuition, and that's why you need to follow your heart. So that's where a lot of people get stuck at today, because they're just like, they got so much pressure from all corners, mainly family, friends, and they're just like, okay, I guess I'm not going to do it. I guess I can find another way, and they settle.
Mm,
I like, for me, my response to that is don't settle. You know,
mm,
I had a motivational talk, I think sometime last year, November, in the UK actually, where the nature of the talk was about most people fail in life because not because they aim too high and miss. Most people fail in life because they aim too low and hit,
mm,
you know. And crazy thing is some people don't even aim at all. But that's a different conversation for another day. But when you think about it, the people that aim too high and miss,
mm,
it's like reaching for the moon, and if you don't get there, you reach the start, you hit the stars, right? That's where you want to be. You want to be aiming for something that is way bigger than you. And they say, there's a quote that goes, dreams come a size too big so we can grow into it. You want
mm,
to grow into the person that you need to become to achieve that dream. And that's why I believe that everything that we're doing, everyone is doing, is just about who they're becoming in the process. So I say don't get stuck. Keep going. Don't be afraid to try new things. If your intuition is telling you to go to a different country, do it. If it's telling you to stay in the country, stay. If it's telling you, whatever it is, follow your heart. Follow your heart, follow your heart, follow your heart, and you find that, whatever it is that you were afraid of, that you were scared of before, it's nothing, right? False evidence appearing real.
mm. Love that, man. I love that. This is one question that I always ask anyone that I'm talking to on this series, and it's about rejection. As a business owner, as an entrepreneur, you would definitely go through different phases of rejection. And I suppose you might have gone through these phases as well. Can you share how you handle rejection?
Yeah. Um, Rejection should be normal as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. One of the examples I like to use is, let's say you go to the shopping center.
Mm,
You see a shop, they sell clothes, nice shoes, jerseys, outfits, whatever it is, whatever type of shop it is. Imagine you walk into the shop, yeah, and you try on so many things. It's called window shopping, right?
mm,
You
mm,
look at it, you're like, oh, that looks great, and you try on many different things. In fact, you could spend 2 hours trying so many things, and at the end of the day, you're not going to buy, right?
mm,
Imagine if the owner of the shop came to you, the manager was like, what's wrong with you? How would you come to my shop and you try so many different things and you don't even buy? That would be crazy, right? So, as a business owner, when you look at things from that lens, you just need to understand that not everyone's going to be your customer.
mm,
Not everyone, when you look at the big brands in the world today, there's iPhone users and there's Samsung users.
mm,
iPhone does not lose sleep just because they're not able to get all the customers from Samsung.
mm,
Samsung does not lose sleep just because they're not able to get all the customers from iPhone users. So they both understand that it's an ocean of customers. We get some, we lose some. And it's the same thing for us as startups, as people who are just getting started. So when you start your business and you're trying to acquire a customer and you get rejected, it's okay. Just understand that it's part of the process. For me, though, I know I'm saying this now, but to be honest, at this beginning, it really, really affected me.
mm,
It was a big deal. I hated that feeling of someone rejecting me on something that I'm trying to offer them, right? Even though I know that it's something that will benefit them at the end of the day.
mm,
And just because you get rejected doesn't mean you should stop. And I think that's the trap a lot of people get caught up in. They get rejected, so what they do is they shield themselves
mm,
because that feeling they felt, they don't want to repeat it. They don't want it to happen again. So they start, going about their business a little bit slower. They start going a bit about their business in fear,
mm,
right? Afraid to get rejected. So they start being selective on who they should approach,
mm,
you know, and how they should approach people
mm,
instead of just, ignoring the feeling and just doing it anyway, asking the same way, going through the numbers and talking to people and sharing your business and sharing your opportunity and sharing your product and your service. So to answer your question directly, how did I handle it? I didn't have a strategy. I just kept on going.
mm,
I kept on going. The good thing though is I had mentorship. I could not find a physical mentor, but what I had around me, all around me, was online mentors.
mm,
Okay, whether it was the Bob Proctors of the world, whether it was the John Maxwell's of the world, whether it was the Les Browns, whether it was the Jim Rohns. I found online mentors that taught me to understand that this is normal.
Mhm.
And I used to listen to a lot of successful businesses as well, and I used to watch them talk about, even today, till today I still do. I watch them talk about their early stages and what they had to do to push beyond themselves. So knowing that, for
Mhm.
me, it was like, okay, this is what successful people had to go through, right? So who am I? I mean, if I want to obviously get to that level as well, I have to see this as a norm, and I have to push through it and just keep talking to people about it. So for me, that's how I handled it.
Mhm. I like that. Rejections is something that God ruined me when I first started. I just, when I got my first rejection, I was like, I'm not doing this again. But thank God for mentors. Thank God for mentors, people that have been through the same cycle and just tell you that it's okay. You know what? This is part of the business. Just, keep
Hmm.
going at it and you will get better. So thank you. Thank you very much for sharing that. And Frank, you've shared so much good stuff here. I've learned so much from a lot of things that you said. I know a lot of things that you said. I have known you've told these things to me before, but repetition is how you learn. Repetition is how you learn. When you keep hearing these things on and on again, it helps you as a person and builds your character. So I'm really grateful for you taking the time to share a lot. I hope I can get you on here again because I know that there's a lot more
Anytime.
that there's a lot more areas that we can talk about and we can go on. Like you said, you can go on and on. You found yourself coming back to the topic, coming back to the topic
Yeah, I
again,
had to always
and
bring
go
it.
on. So I'm really, really grateful for you taking the time to come down and just share your knowledge. And I'm sure a lot of people find huge value in this. Before I let you go, before I let you go, just one last thing I want to ask. Just if you can give one advice or a few advice to people that are on the fence with entrepreneurship, people that are have thought about it, but they're scared. People that don't really know what entrepreneurship is. Can you just share some knowledge on that, or some kind of inspiration or motivation for people that are just still thinking about should I do this or shouldn't I do this?
Very, very simple. If you're on the edge, if you're thinking about it, I say do it.
Mm,
I say do it because you want to be part of the people who are moving humanity forward. You want to be part of the people who are creators in this world, right? You just don't want to come to this world and just exist and just work for someone else for the rest of your life. There's nothing wrong with that, by the way, okay? Because entrepreneurs need people to work for them, right? So they can, their entire ultimate vision can be reached.
mm,
So there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're at the edge, if it's on your mind, I say do it.
mm,
Start small. Don't throw, don't jump into it, just like that. Say I'm going to quit my job. Start part time, right? And eventually you'll find that maybe okay, it's time to go full time. But my advice is just do it. You
mm,
never know what's waiting for you at the other side. Okay, just do it, do it, do it. Don't
mm,
listen to people who are going to talk you down. Jump into it. Take a leap of faith. Um, you just you don't know. You just don't know. Like, why wouldn't you want to follow that heart desire, that burning desire that is inside of you? Where do you think it came from? Right? Maybe you were chosen
mm,
to bring that idea into reality. So my advice is very simple. It's not a motivational talk. It's not an inspirational talk. Just do it. Get a taste of it. You may find that you don't like it, and then you can always go back to doing what you're doing before.
mm,
But you may find that it elevates you to a different level. You may find that you fall in love with it. Because one thing that I would say is when I started out my entrepreneurial journey, it forced me to want it to become a better version of myself. Same with most entrepreneurs. When you embark on that journey, you automatically want to grow yourself. So you automatically tap into leadership. You
mm,
automatically tap into personal growth. You automatically tap into anything and everything that would help you become a better version. Without entrepreneurship, you don't really see, you don't really tap into those things by default. You know, you just don't fall into it. You know, just doesn't happen like that. So my advice is, when you start your journey with, you know, into towards entrepreneurship, you may find that maybe the business never worked out, but who you became in the process is going to be, you know, a better version of yourself. And if that's all you achieve alone, it's worth it. So just do it.
I love that. I love that. Bro, thank you so much. Man, guys, that was amazing stuff. I don't know what else to say. I think this guy sealed it there with all the questions. And I think a lot of knowledge was dropped down there. And I think a lot, excuse me, I'm going to put a small emoji here and say COVID. But Frank, thank you so much again. Really appreciate the time. Really appreciate the words of encouragement. And I hope you're keeping well. I hope that I see you soon and take care of yourself. All right.
Absolutely, man. And let me just add to this as well. Like, I like, even what you're doing right now, I think is great. Yes, I came here and I shared a few thoughts and a few ideas on what I feel about entrepreneurship, leadership, and life in general. But I think you creating what you're creating right now, having a platform where people can come in, they can watch, they can learn, they can observe and see, you know, what other people are doing, and, you know, so they can know what to expect when they say, for example, start their journey towards entrepreneurship. I think it's an amazing thing. I've known you personally, for a while now. I know you're an amazing leader. I know you love personal growth. You love becoming a better version of yourself. I know you have a longer vision of serving people, and I think what you're doing is amazing. And
Thank you.
I think I watched a few of your other interviews that you had, and I was inspired. And yeah, I would say, yeah, great stuff. Just keep it
Thank
up
you.
as well.
Really appreciate that, man. Really appreciate that. All right, man. Take it easy and take care of yourself, man. All right. See you,
All
buddy.
right, man. All
Take care.
right, take care.
Yeah.